Derrick Nix is named the offensive coordinator at Auburn, and Antonio Kite joins the Tigers as well. Let's talk about it on this edition of the Uptempo Podcast.
You are now listening to the War Report Podcast Network.
And TGIF Auburn family, I hope everybody's blessed out there. I'm your host, Dustin Smith, joined as always by my guy, Blake Lane. And Blake, we got some answers, man. Derrick Nix officially named the offensive coordinator at Auburn. We knew it was coming. Lane Kiffin kicking and fighting the whole way, making it as difficult as possible. For only the second time ever, Auburn picks up a commitment or a transfer, from Alabama. A lot going on, man, and we're hoping that's going to be a busy weekend as well. But first off, brother, as always, how are you?
I'm doing well, Dustin. Starting to warm up a little bit, and it was a little bit better today.
Yeah, 48's warm.
Yeah, it's been rough down here, man. But there's the college football world is spiraling. It's out of control, man. There's so many moving pieces, and we got a coach over here like we were talking about the other night. He's acting like a baby, still tweeting about Auburn. He was just tweeting about Auburn 30 minutes ago.
I missed it.
Yeah, mad about his coach leaving, and can you blame him?
I'll check it out.
Yeah, he's going back to Hugh, man. He's going back. He wanted to get back with the old bull. All right, so Hugh Freeze getting the gang back together, man. So exciting times for Auburn. Auburn, like you said, they're picking up a big piece in the secondary. A room where we got talent, like we say, but we're also a little thin. So getting a guy like this will be a major upgrade out there at corner. So a lot to talk about tonight, Dustin, and can't wait to get after it.
Yes, sir. Let's start with the OC, man. Me and you were kind of talking before we recorded, and we've been alluding to this the last couple of weeks on the pod. It just seems like Hugh is going out and saying, okay, these things didn't mess. I brought in somebody I really didn't know that well in Philip Montgomery. Brought in somebody I didn't really know that well in Ron Roberts. And chemistry issues arise, and they both don't make it past a year. It really seems like Hugh is going out and getting guys that he's coached with, guys that he know, that he can trust, guys that he can say, hey, listen, I need you to do this. I'm going to do this. And they'll just go do it, and there won't be no pushback. And he's probably thinking, if I'm going to go down, I'm going to go down doing what I did before, the way that I know that it works. So Blake, just kind of speak to that. And then how does that make you feel better moving forward?
Yeah, it makes me feel better moving forward because Hugh Freeze is in control of his offense. Mm-hmm. And you go get a guy like Derrick Nix, who is a veteran, all right? He's from the state of Alabama. He gets the recruiting grounds and the outline of the state. And I think this was a move, Dustin, that Alabama just hired Kane Womack or the head coach at South, however you say his name. They just hired him as defensive coordinator, and he has ties in state. Kalen DeBoer is looking for that guy in state to recruit Alabama. So what does Hugh do? Hugh says, okay, well, you hired that guy. Well, here's Derrick Nix. All right. Here's Derrick Nix. He knows the state just as well. So it's chess, not checkers. And you go look at Derrick Nix's recruits, the list of recruits that he has, man. It's impressive. He's brought some real deal talent to Ole Miss. And so I think it's not a knock to Cadillac, like I said previously. This isn't a knock to Caddy, man. We love Caddy. But Derrick Nix is an upgrade. All right. It's an upgrade at the running back position. He coached wide receivers at Ole Miss, so he knows something about that too. But this is a guy that played at Southern Miss. All right. I believe he was teammates with Jeff Kelly. I think I saw that somewhere. Saraland's head coach when he was, just freaking ripping the peel at Southern Miss.
Bad connection to have, Blake.
Yeah, that's right, man. That's right. And them Saraland boys, man, they're loading up on Twitter, man. Yeah, I wish, I hope. But Derrick Nix, man, he's familiar with the Southeast. He knows the area. He's a great coach, and I'm just excited to have him, man. And everybody on social media, they look at this hire. And when I'm talking about everybody, you know who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the ones across the state, and they're like, "Oh, first-time play caller." Dustin talked about that with the Ole Miss and the graphic they put out and everything like that. First-time play caller. This Derrick Nix he's going to have his hand in some things, and getting preparation ready, and all those, scheme wise and everything like that. Him and Hugh are going to go to work, but Hugh Freeze is calling the plays.
Yeah.
Let's don't get that twisted. All right, so they can spin whatever they want to spin over there in Tuscaloosa or Oxford, Mississippi, or whatever. But at the end of the day, man, I really like the hire.
Yeah, I do too. You make a good point about him coaching receivers as well, because we just haven't seen our. I'm like Tank. You remember when Tank came in his last year, and it was we were really. They said all offseason we're really going to get him the ball in the passing game because we're trying to get him ready for the next level. And with Tank this year, it's about really getting him the touches all over the place and showing the NFL he's ready. And then that didn't happen. And he didn't look. Not only did it not happen because we didn't have much of a passing game at all, but it didn't happen because he didn't seem like he really improved that much in that aspect. Jarquez has been on campus 3 years now, hasn't really improved that much. You had a guy like as far as pass blocking, route running, catching the ball right consistently. Now a guy like Jeremiah Cobb's come in, he's already kind of polished in it. So you're looking like, all right, what can Derrick Nix do with this? But in the running back position specifically, there wasn't any like chemistry issues, right, with Hugh and Cadillac. From everything we've heard, they got along fine. But a guy that he can trust, man, a guy that he knows, Derrick, I need you to do this, and Derrick will go do it. And I don't know if that was the case with Phillip, or maybe Hugh felt the kind of way, right, where maybe it even had nothing to do with Phillip, but maybe Hugh felt the kind of way where he was like he respected Phillip. He respected a guy that had been a head coach for a long time, and he didn't want to go to Phillip and be like, "Hey, man, go do this," right? Because he was like he said all season, I'm struggling with giving away this responsibility. So maybe there were times where he felt like he needed to do something, but he was like, no, I got to let my coach if I'm going to do this. Now he can just do it the way he's always done it. He doesn't have to play these psychological battles in his own head of how to do this and I'm struggling and blah. No, Hugh's got nothing to struggle with. Run your offense this year. You call the plays, and Derrick Nix will do whatever Hugh wants him to do. And when you speak on recruiting, it's the connections like that with Sarah Land. Look, when you really pay attention to what Hugh does, I'm telling you, recruiting is always going to be high up on whatever he's doing. It's always going to be somewhere in there. And it's not just, oh, he's a good recruiter. It's things like Blake just said. Oh, he just so happens to have played with a guy that is coach one of the best programs in Alabama. And Hugh does stuff like that all over the place. He's always finding this, that, moving pieces. He really understands the recruiting game. So I have no this is the one thing I'll say. Let's say that in 3 years, Hugh Freeze doesn't get it right on the field and it doesn't work. 3-4 years and he has to go. I'm not saying that's what I think is going to happen. I'm just saying let's say that at the very least, we would have at least got a significant talent upgrade, right?
Yeah.
The roster would have got better at least. Like he's going to do that. So and Derrick Nix will continue to help out in that. And I just think the bigger part of this is the continuity. And I want to state this really loud one time for anybody that didn't hear it when Blake said it a minute ago. Hugh Freeze will be calling the plays next year. And the way that Ole Miss handled it, it's just the way that Ole Miss is going to handle things with Lane Kiffin. And it's funny because, I'll give them their flowers, Blake. Like they've had 2 10-win seasons in the last 3 years, and I'd do a lot of shady things for that. But we've had 3 losing ones in a row. But I would make the argument that we had you on your ropes with an interim head coach, and we even got you with Potato Head, and we had you within 1 touchdown this year. Really didn't even play that well in that situation. So you're really not that far ahead of us like you think you are. But it's funny to see this just because it's like you've had a little bit of success. And again, I'm not even trying to poop on their success because I would love a 10-win, 8-win, then 10-win stretch here. But this is how you act. You get a little bit in you, and this is how you act. Okay, man. It's I just take note. And like our boy Jake Crane has always been, he said it all year. You better kick Auburn when they're down. You better get your kicks in right now because the game plan is this ain't gonna be going on too long. So, and I hope we're keeping receipts. I know I am.
And another thing that I got to touch on this too is, what does it say for a guy that's been at Ole Miss for this long
Mm.
All right. And your former coach has to leave Ole Miss and goes to Liberty, coaches there, all right, and then finds his way to Auburn. And then when he gets to Auburn after year one, he says, "Hey, Derrick, I know you've been over there for what, 15, 16 years, something like that, whatever it was.
Family
Why,
rooted there. Yeah.
exactly. Why don't you come over here and work for me again?" And then he says, "You know what? Yeah, I
Yeah,
will."
right.
You want to know why? Because it's Hugh Freeze, all right? And it's about getting the band back together, man. Same way with Ken Austin at quarterback coach. It's about getting the familiarity and the band back together of Hugh Freeze's guys and them being able to work together. Because the whole entire season last year, what were we so surrounded on? Exactly what Dustin said, just the Philip Montgomery, Hugh Freeze thing. It was back and forth, and everybody's running around with their heads cut off, going, "Man, what's going on? What is this? What is that?" You're hearing these rumors, those rumors. So I think Hugh took a step back and he said, "Hey, look, I, I got to fix some things. All right." And I'm going to go to guys like Derrick Nix, who I've worked with before, and he knows that I'm very easy to work with. And I trust Derrick Nix. So let's bring him back on staff. And I it might not work. Me and Dustin were talking about this before we hit record. you know Everybody's saying that it's going to work, it's going to work, it's going to work. What if it might not work? But I think Hugh wants to try it his way.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with that. And if like Dustin said, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. That's how I respect him for going out with his guys and wanting to make it happen, because he tried it with Philip Montgomery, all right, and he tried it with Ron Roberts, and it didn't work. So now he's saying, "Hey, let's turn it around." So, I respect him for that.
Yeah, and look, me and Blake have talked a lot about culture issues. We alluded to it a lot during the season, like, hey, we know some things, and it's just not good inside that
Yep.
locker room, and that's why you see the play that you see on Saturday. Like, to be real with you, knowing what we know now, the effort. Let me just tell y'all this. I'll put it this way: what happened in Baton Rouge was not an accident. That was
Yep.
not an accident. That's a team that is not together, going in there and getting drilled. That's why that happened. Chemistry. There's X's and O's and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, them boys did not have a good week of practice for a lot of reasons, and that's the result you get. So I think that Hugh understands also, Blake, the culture is set from the top down.
Yep.
So how can I expect my guys to be on point when I've got my DC and my DB coach getting into such a beef that the DB coach has to step away from the field? Well, obviously, the players that got recruited by that coach or have developed a strong relationship with that coach, they're going to start taking sides, and then you just then you have the whole Philip Montgomery thing, and again, let's say Philip and Hugh are getting along perfect, right? It does it at the very least. We know that Hugh was calling plays sometimes, and then other times Philip was. There's a national division right there that can form. The players can start saying, "Man, I hate when Philip calls the plays." Well, you hate when Philip calls the plays because you're not getting the ball. It can just lead to so many things, man. And all that the culture is set from the coaches, from the top down. And Hugh said it post game, Maryland in Nashville. I did not do a good job of that.
Yep.
And I think that's why you're seeing a lot of these moves that you're seeing on the coaching staff is I'm going to get guys that I know I can get along with. The players are going to see that every day. They're going to bust their ass on the recruiting trail, and let's go get it.
Yep.
So it excites me, and we'll see. We'll see where it goes. And look, I know that last year there was things that we could point at, and a lot of things we could point at, and I was vocal about them when they happened. But you know, we went 5-7 the year before. Ended up going, we won one more game in the regular season. Is a point I'm making. There was a small improvement. I'm not making excuses for a lot of things that happened, but this whole thing, like it's just going off the rails. That's I ain't with that,
No.
bro. And we'll see. we'll see what happens down the stretch here. But I do like what Hugh's doing and saying, look, I gotta build this chemistry up. I gotta get my guys in here. Now, Blake, something that kind of caught me off guard though was for only the first time since Corey Grant, and my understanding is only the second time ever. Corey Grant and now Antonio Kite. He will be coming to Auburn. He's a transfer from Alabama, 6'1", 180 defensive back. He was a 4-star coming out of Anniston. Like I said, man, only second time ever. The first thing, Blake, when I see that is I think, like you say all the time, this is the greatest rivalry in sports because it's like, hey, I'm leaving here, but I still ain't going over there. I think,
Yeah.
I think that I read, don't quote me on this, but I think no scholarship Auburn player has ever transferred to Bama. Is that correct?
I don't know.
I think I read that. Don't quote me on it. Y'all can get us in the comments if I'm wrong there.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, not a lot of names come off the top, right? You can't think of one off
Yeah.
the top of your head. So I think that just kind of speaks to the rivalry of like, look, bro, I still hate you. I ain't going over there. I'll go somewhere. I might go to Georgia. I might go to LSU, but I'm not going over there, bro. So this is Charles Kelly, Blake, Antonio Kite. We need some help in the secondary. Just kind of speak on this, and then the relationship. This is Charles Kelly recruited him. Now he's coming to Auburn. This ain't an accident.
Well, the first thing I'll say is Charles Kelly strikes. And one thing I love about Antonio Kite, haven't watched a whole lot of him, special teams. I saw that he played special teams for Alabama a good bit, and he got into some action. I think he played against Kentucky a little bit when they were up 42-14 or whatever. 6'1", 180 corner. Love it. Love it. Absolutely love it. Just, man, you're seeing that more and more in today's game. Get those 6'1", 6'2" corners, big size, big frame, and go up and match up with those Cam Colemans of the world, down the field. And, I hope that he can tackle in the open field, because I think that was one thing that we had a problem with this past season. We have to be a better tackling team, people. Go watch Michigan in the Rose Bowl and then in the national championship game. The best tackling team in open space that I've seen in a long, long time. That team will pop you, they wrap up, and they make it happen in the open space. You got to tackle in open field. And there was times, I love DJ to death, man, but there was times where DJ could not wrap up in the open field, and it would extend plays 10 to 15 more yards down the field, things like that. DJ was great in coverage, not tackling. So I hope Antonio Kite can tackle in the open field. I think this is big because now you've got KN on one side. You can have Antonio Kite on one side, JD Rim somewhere in there rotating. And this allows Keontae to go to that nickel spot. And that's the biggest thing, because we watched him in the bowl game at corner, and he let's just say it. Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't it.
It wasn't it. He needs to be in the nickel. He's not an absolute liability at corner, but he needs work. And so
it's just not his best. If he's so much better at another position, let's put him there.
Yeah, let's keep him at nickel, and that's going to slide him there. So, you start looking at the secondary, things are going to fill out there. It looks really nice. The safety position, you're looking solid there. Linebacker, you lost Cam Riley, but that's like, that's not terrible. You're still looking pretty solid there. You gotta get a couple more up front. We gotta beef that up.
Yes.
But at this point where we're sitting right now, spring ball's not far off, and A-Days, they announced it today. A-Days, April 6th. The way you're looking at this defense, there's some holes to plug, but this secondary, it's gonna be young, but it's gonna be talented. And I think that's a plus when you add a guy like Antonio Kite. I think he has a whole lot of upside.
Yeah, I mean, when it's a guy that doesn't have a whole lot of film, and he went to Bama, so I didn't really keep up with his recruitment too much. I don't really remember us really being in the mix for him, and maybe we
Hmm.
were, but I don't really remember like a real, a real thing.
Yeah.
Um, so I'm just trusting Charles Kelly on this one. If Charles Kelly felt like he was worthy of bringing over, then cool. It's not a
Yep.
spot that I'm worried about. Like I'm so excited to see JD. Like I'm really hoping that he gets his stuff together and can be the player that I think he can be because I think he can start on Sundays.
Yep.
Um, I love the little bit that I saw from Champ Anthony. I want to see more. So there's a lot of young guys there. What's Amon Lane going to be? Probably be a nickel guy, but can he get in there and get some reps behind Keontae in that spot? That'd be great. There's a lot of young guys in that secondary. I want to see how they kind of pan out. So I'm not particularly. I was never worried about it, but like I said, I'm just going to trust Charles Kelly here. The guy knows defense. The guy
Yeah.
obviously knows how to recruit talent. He knows how to scout talent and get good guys in there. So if he thinks that we needed Antonio Kite at Auburn, I'm going to trust him. And that's just kind of where I land on that one. I wanted to ask you, bro. Um, on the Knicks thing, right? I know I'm kind of switching back, but I didn't get
Yeah.
it in there. Do you think that he saw the ceiling? Do you think that he says? Do you think that he says, "Hey, 10-2 is the best we're gonna do here"?
Wow. Wow. Uh, a lot of people are saying that Ole Miss is going to the college football playoff next year because it expands to 12 teams. You lose divisions. You don't have to go through, the Alabama and LSU and Auburn and Arkansas and all that stuff anymore. So now it's just the top two teams play in Atlanta.
Right.
So a loss to Alabama doesn't technically kill you anymore. Where this year, that's pretty much what killed them.
Mhm.
They lost to Alabama and then turned around and lost to Georgia. So, I mean, yeah, I do. Like, I think he just kind of looked at it and was like, we can't beat Alabama. We can't beat Georgia. I'm familiar with this guy. I loved working for this guy. Auburn's a better program. They're a better school. They have way more upside and chances to win at Auburn. Let's be honest. Let's just be honest. He loves Hugh Freeze. He loves working for Hugh. He looked at Auburn and said, "Hey, this is a better opportunity for my career to grow.
Right.
For my career to grow because you're a wide receivers coach over here at Ole Miss. Let me go over here at Auburn, top 10 to 15 program historically in college football history. All right. Let me go over here and work for a guy that I've already worked for. And I have the chance to get on my resume that I'm an offensive coordinator at a
Yeah.
program like this." That's what it come down to. I kind of felt like Ole Miss was trying to hold him back a little bit with all the hoopla and everything they were trying to do. It just kind of felt like BS, if we're being honest, you know.
Yeah.
Um, but I just think he looked at it as a better situation, a better program, and that's how it worked out.
Yeah. I agree with you. And it was interesting too to see his wife kind of liking some tweets and stuff on social media where people were kind of saying like, "Hey, this whole trolling thing that Ole Miss is doing is kind of taking away the
Yeah,
opportunity for Derrick Nix. You're kind of creating your own storyline, doing your typical Lane Kiffin stuff." And his wife kind of liked all that. So,
good for her.
if your wife is kind of let because she knows people can see the likes. So if your wife's kind of letting it be known, like, hey, I agree with this sentiment, probably pretty smart to think
Good for
he
her.
does too. He pillow talk, right?
It's just immaturity, man.
Yeah, it's wild, but that's why we talked about the other day. That's why they are what they are. That's why he is what he is.
Yeah.
And yeah, man. Again, good time to tell our members. Look out for Saturday morning. The Ole Miss pod will drop for you guys. The preview for the Ole Miss basketball game coming up, and I'm going to be talking trash and be super hyped. So you can be ready for that. Blake, real quick before we get out of here, brother, I wanted to ask you real quick. We've seen the mass exodus from the Alabama players. I mean, it's just at this point, man, it's nuts. And
Yeah.
Proctor, we could go down the list, and I'm not gonna. Everyone, there's been so many people that are having fun with it that I'm not going to. And you kind of know my style on this. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'm scoreboard. When we beat them, I promise y'all, I'll be right there with y'all. But I'm not going to be just out here parading around like, oh, somebody actually sent me a tweet and was like, hey, can you repost this for me? Which is a whole thing in itself. But they were like, and it was just clowning on Bama. And I was like, that's not even my opinion on it, brother. Like, I like seeing this. And it's get to the point where I'm like, damn, they really might be in a situation actually. So I'm not saying I'm not enjoying it, but I'm just not going to be out there publicly clowning or whatever, because the way I see it, they're on a streak versus us, so I'm a scoreboard guy. But when I see stuff like Zion Grady and he says the lack of communication. So if you don't know, Zion Grady is a 4-star edge rusher, class of 2025, and he decommitted from Alabama. And when he did it, he said it was the lack of communication from the staff. It was a lack of communication from the school about what was going on, where he stood, what was going to be what. And I'm sure Bama's scrambling, and this is a crazy process for them. But I'll ask you this, Blake. When's the last time you heard stuff like that in the state of Alabama about a head coach
It
not
wasn't
knowing how
long
to handle?
ago. It wasn't long ago. My
Where'd
thing
he
with
come
the
from?
man, I don't want to talk about. I hate that state, Potato State, Idaho. I hate it. Um, I hope there's like 9 foot of snow up there right now, and they can't move. Yeah, I hate that place. So look, my thing was Zion Grady and just some of the things like I think a lot of people took what he said out of context when they were like, well, the staff just got there. No, I think he was talking about the previous staff, like Saban just kind of hitting everybody with, hey, I'm retiring.
Hmm.
And then the new staff was trying to get transitioned in, and there was just no talk. So he was just like, okay, well, you know, are they gonna come visit me? Or are they gonna try to keep me, or what? And then he just, hey, look, maybe I need to step back, decommit, see the new staff out, and just hear them out. And I think some people I saw some of the quote tweets, and they were just like, bro, you're a quitter. You didn't even let the staff get in their office yet, and all that. And I'm just like, I think you took it. I think you took it out of line. Like, I don't think that's what he meant. So Kalen, man, and Kalen DeBoer, great coach, coming over. I think that you look at this 25 class, and they're going to have some work to do. Like
Mm-hmm.
Alabama, you're coming in, you're bringing in a guy, like I said, great coach, great offensive mind, great assistants. He's made some good hires, whatever. I don't care how you look at that. Okay. But he's got to come in and find the blueprint to recruiting in the state. But now, where I think Auburn can capitalize is you promoted Trevon Reed, which I think is the biggest thing for this staff, was the promotion of Trevon Reed to be able to travel on the road, on the recruiting trail, to be able to go inside somebody's home and not have to sit at home and wait for them to come to campus. That's absolutely huge. Shout out Trevon Reed for working his tail off the way he does, man, consistently on the road recruiting and making relationships with these kids. I'll tell you one thing Trevon said with Mike G in the interview that they did is Trevon said that he works to build relationships with these kids, but it's just not a relationship about football. It's a relationship about life, people. All right. He goes in and he connects with these kids, and he says, hey, this is more than football. All right. If you don't choose my school, I'm not mad at you. I'm not mad at you. I'm still your boy. If you need help, call me. All right. If you need somebody to reach out to, call me. So, how does that play in the transfer portal? You would love to finish second in a recruiting battle right now, wouldn't you, Dustin? I mean, right now, though, people go and they're playing 1 year and then they're hitting the portal and leaving. So, Trevon making those relationships and Hey, he didn't pick me the first time, but maybe he picks me the second time. Look at Mike Norvell right now down at Florida State. He's poaching kids left and right out of Tuscaloosa. But they didn't pick me the first time, but they'll pick me this time. So I think there is a huge opportunity for Hugh Freeze to take advantage in 2025. You've had offensive linemen decommit. You've had D linemen decommit from Alabama. You had Micah DeBose right down here in Mobile. He come out and said, "Man, I just don't know if Kalen DeVore is an SEC guy." And he just decommitted from Georgia. Alabama reoffered him, and he's what is it, RPM'd on 3 to Auburn. So the opportunity is there. What is it, Dustin? I can't hear you. You're good. You're good.
There's a reason you couldn't hear me, Blake. My mic was muted.
You're
I
good.
said he had a you talking about DeBow. I just said he had a
Yeah.
real good visit the last time he came, and then he decommitted. So you gotta
Yeah.
like where we sit.
And Zion Grady, he was at Junior Day. He comes to
Yeah.
Auburn on Junior Day. And so, I think Hugh is making the move, and I think this is a plus for Auburn. People can say what they want to say about DeBoer. Like I said, I think he's a great coach. The ties to the South are major, and I know what he's doing, and he's adding pieces over there. And the Courtney Morgan hire was great to come down and be like the general manager over everything. That's awesome. That's awesome for them. All right. But at the end of the day, man, I don't know if Kalen DeBoer's got the swag that Hugh Freeze has got.
Mm.
All right. I don't know if Kalen DeBoer can pull up in a Chrysler minivan in Foley and get out, and Perry Thompson's family be standing there, and Hugh get out and go dap up Perry and what's up, baby? All right. I don't know if Kalen's got that swagger. I don't know if Kalen's ever been to a cookout. All right. I don't know if Kalen knows what it takes to go into these houses and sit, and I don't know if he knows what Southern cook meals are like. I
Yeah.
don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know if he could go in there and get it done like that. I just, and I think Hugh can. I think Hugh's got that swagger to connect with these young kids, and he can relate to them and everything. And then you got young guys like Marcus Davis. Man, listening to Marcus Davis on that Perry doc, when he told Perry, man, like, I lost my mom, you know, and I was in the same situation you were, and I didn't have nobody. All right, so I had to make something up quick,
Mm.
and I had to get it out the mud, and that's the way Perry Thompson got it out the mud. So they hit it off right there because Perry was like, man, like, I was walking in the same shoes as Marcus Davis was. By the way, Marcus Davis needs a raise, in my opinion. Dude has been recruiting his tail off, getting after it. But if they sign Ryan Williams, could be the greatest wide receiver class in the history of college
Yes.
football.
Yeah.
So I think the time is now for Auburn. I think you have to strike now, Dustin. And I think Hugh Freeze notices that. Ken Austin, quarterbacks coach, familiar with him. He's a great coach, developer in QBs, was at Liberty with Hugh and all of those things. And Derrick Nix, man, recruiting that, and Charles Kelly getting Crime Dog to come back. I mean,
Yeah.
bro, listen to Jalen Simpson's exit video. All right. He's saying, hey, the first coach I want to thank, Crime Dog. What? You're thinking a position coach? First out the gate, you're thinking a position coach? Like, that tells me right there, dog, Crime's that dude. Like,
Yeah.
Crime straight up. Like, if we would have lost Crime, we would have been in trouble.
Yeah. Because
Like,
Kane Lee's gone. Yeah.
yeah, we would have been in real deal trouble. Like, so I think Hugh, I think he saw the writing on the wall. I think he notices that there's an opportunity in Tuscaloosa right now that he can take advantage of, Dustin.
Yeah, and I'm sure. Look, I'm sure that they feel this way in Baton Rouge. I'm sure they feel this
Yep.
way in Athens. I'm sure everybody right now is like, "Oh boy," you know. But for us, the state of Alabama, super rich with talent, and we've just been getting beat. We've been getting beat to sleep up until Hugh Freeze showed up. We weren't getting anybody. I mean,
Yep.
it had really the recruiting. Everyone knows how bad it had gone down. We were in battles with, man, like Missouri and Kentucky, and we were happy when we would beat out Illinois. It was getting tough. It was getting tough, man. So yeah, you've never had, if you're Auburn, it's been 17 years, right, since
Yep.
you've had this kind of opportunity, and the best that Alabama can hope for with DeBoer and all those situations you talked about with coming to the South, just not having the relationships and the ties is a big thing.
Yep.
We saw that with Harsin. Now, will DeBoer work to fix those? And will Bama fans give him enough time? Those are questions. Harsin didn't work to fix those. He didn't work to build those ties, build those relationships.
Yep.
Will DeBoer do that? Like they're two different people. So I'm not trying to say,
Yep.
but it's just, will a guy has never coached in this region, Blake, me and and a lot of our listeners, y'all know how this works. These high school coaches are buddies. They talk. They got friends that get promoted to become assistant coaches at Auburn these coaches talk. Okay, they all know each other. Everything's going around. a lot of the information we get comes from high school coaches, believe it or not. They know stuff. Okay, and will he be able to get in there? Maybe, but I'll tell you who's already in that circle. Our guys, our staff. So right now, like, I do think we have the advantage on the recruiting trail for this especially for this 2025 class, because we're still seeing how it's taken it, how Hugh's been here now for a little bit, and it's still taking him some time to build relationships, right? We're still fighting with Ryan Williams, trying to make up ground that was lost because of Harsin. Bama's just now getting to that. So even if he does everything right, the 25 class specifically is yours for the taking. Even if DeBoer nails it, he's not going to come in and just nail it. If he does, then we're just cursed as a school. And like, if he does, then they're never going to suck.
Yeah.
But so my point is, even if he does a good job, it's still right there for us to do better. You broke the Phoenix City curse, and there's a kid right now at Phoenix City that is a freaking dog. You do not let Upshaw get out. Dude, The kid's got to play at Auburn. He's an absolute beast, bro. Whoever these people are that are rating him as a 3-star, like, you really need to go get your eyes checked on, buddy. Because that kid he's that dude. It reminds me of when I watched it's the same thing the year before with Cam Coleman. Phoenix City had Carmelo English, and he was balling, and Cam Coleman had like 600-700 yards total. And you're watching Cam, and you're like, okay, but next year. It was the same way this year with Upshaw. I was like, okay, well, next year. Well, Cam's over here going off for 300 yards, and Upshaw's getting like 80 or 90 and a touchdown or two. But I'm just telling it's there. And I mentioned Upshaw because it seems like it's trending in the right direction. And it feels good, man, because that's how crazy it was for Auburn, guys. That the Phoenix City curse was a thing.
Yep.
40 minutes down the road.
Couldn't get Justin Ross.
7A factory, dude.
Yep.
Factory right there in your backyard, and Clemson's coming in and getting them.
Yep.
That stuff is coming. It's coming to an end, bro. It's coming to an end. And now that the evil empire has fallen, and because of the portal rules and everything else, it might fall faster than even I anticipated. Because I was thinking like 10 wins, then down to 9 or 8. Boy, if your whole team leaves, I don't know. Then it could go bad fast. But for us, bro, it's all definitely there. And we're about to get out of here. But speaking of recruiting, I know that I had mentioned on the live show the other day, we were going to have a recruiting person on here to chop it up with this Friday. And life happens. Things happen, right? People have kids. People have jobs. People have lives. So, but we will have our guy on next week. So just stay tuned for that. It is happening. We just had to push it back. These things happen sometimes. For our members, like I said, Saturday, be on the lookout. I'll do it tomorrow. We'll drop it on y'all Saturday morning or nice and early. I'll do a little Ole Miss preview for you guys. Get in there and kind of look at their stats and stuff like that. And then I'd say next week, I'm going to I'll do some recruiting updates as well. Let me get some calls in, kind of see what, some stuff starting to heat up. There just hasn't been a whole lot to put out there for our varsity members on that right now. Obviously, y'all have seen it's just kind of been like a dead period, but visits have happened recently. Some things are starting to heat up. Some recruitments are starting to be some movements. I'm starting to hear some things. So give me Monday, Tuesday-ish, and that'll be out for you guys as well. The Ole Miss preview will be for JV and varsity. So, and if you're interested in a membership, you got to do it on your desktop, but the button's right there, man. Pop that thing. We got the 2 options, and we would love to have you. Blake, we're under 40 subs away from 1,500. So listen, we want to get there. Let's do it on this episode, guys. I don't want to come back on here the next episode under 1,500. So smash that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. We're doing 3,000 an episode. So I know that some of you guys are coming back and you're not subscribed yet. Just do that, man. It would mean a lot to me and Blake. And I want to say a big thank you, Blake, to these last couple of weeks. We've really had just the comments have been overwhelmingly positive.
Yep.
My social media has been overwhelmingly positive. People just DMing saying, "Hey, I love the show." And I kind of feel even crazy saying this, but it's kind of got to the point to where I can't have a nice life balance and get back to everybody like I want to. So just know that we appreciate y'all like we do. I see your comments. I see your kind words. There's been so many people lately saying this is one of my favorite pods, this, that, and the other. Thank you. We see you. And I promise you it means the world to us because, we've had times where we've done episodes that we worked really hard on and they got 12 episodes. But I promise y'all that in those times, me and Blake always saw a vision and we always were that's okay. We just got to keep trucking. We know where we're going to be. So seeing the fruits of our labor feels really good for us. And if we're not able to get back to you guys, it's just because time doesn't permit it. But we do see you. We do appreciate you. And we do love each and every single one of you. I really do mean that.
Yeah, Dustin, I agree with you 100%, man. And the YouTube comments and one thing that hits me is saying that this is one of my favorite Auburn pods is when me and Dustin started coming on here and posting things on YouTube, we didn't expect all of this to happen, and we didn't expect for people to say this is one of my favorite Auburn pods. I mean, insane, right? But I'm blessed, man. I thank each and every one of you because it makes me feel good that you guys like coming in here and you all enjoy listening to what we have to say and the passion. Everybody's you are so passionate about Auburn. I'll tell you right now, I'm extremely passionate about Auburn, and I love the Auburn Tigers. And it's been a crazy ride, and we're going to continue to keep on rolling. And like Dustin said, he's doing the basketball and the recruiting stuff, and here baseball's under a month away.
Yes, sir.
And I've still got some notes down from when I went and covered the team in Biloxi when they played La Tech in the fall, and I will get on here one day when I get time and I can share it with you guys and what I saw and who to look out for. And I kind of drop little hints on Twitter of some guys that you need to look out for and what I saw that day over there in Biloxi. So we've got that coming up, and don't leave us during baseball season, man, because we're still going to be producing football stuff. We're still going to be producing basketball stuff. We're still going to be talking baseball. We're going to be showing love to women's softball and everything like that, man. So we enjoy each and every one of you, and thank you from the bottom of my heart, man. Thank you.
Yeah, for real. Love y'all, man. War Damn Eagle, and we'll see you guys Sunday at 3 p.m.
War Damn, baby.
Yes, sir.